This is Umbreen Khan for Seconds Out, and I'm here with Ricky Hatton. Ricky, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you, yeah.
So how is, you've got your exhibition fight coming up with Marco Antonio Barrera. How did that fight come about?
How it came about, I think everyone was depressed. People were struggling with the mental health because of the lockdown and everything like that. And then all of a sudden the phone went. And this gentleman said, "Listen, Ricky, it's been a depressing time for the nation, and everybody. What with mental health being through the roof, and I know you've suffered with mental health, and what with the lockdown and everything like that. It's, what would you feel like doing an exhibition bout at the Manchester Arena, like one last dance for Ricky Hatton, to raise awareness of mental health, So, and to be honest, my cousin Stephen hung himself for." Suffered from mental health, and he hung himself 4 weeks into lockdown. So I jumped at the chance, and I said, "Who are you thinking of doing it with?" They went, "Marco Antonio Barrera." I said, "Oh, lovely." I said, "He's my friend." I said, he's a legend. Know how good he is, but at least I'm going to get to see how good he is firsthand now by sharing the ring with him." And I think getting my weight off and getting, get my mind right and giving myself a goal, something to aim for. I think could inspire people as well, which it has done. So even though it got postponed and it's got put back, the fact that I've still kept in shape and kept my weight off, I think has inspired a lot of people with mental health and weight problems. So it got postponed, but I think postponed for the better.
Yeah. Do you think you said yes to it because it was Barrera, or would you have taken it with someone else as well?
And I'd probably have to look at it a little bit more if it was someone other than Marco Antonio Barrera, because Marco's my friend, he has been forever, and even though, it's an exhibition fight, me and Marco would rather die than people walk away from that arena going, but wasn't that boring, wasn't that a waste of time? So, I mean, we know we've got to make it exciting to the fans, otherwise, we're going to get slated, and to be honest with you, I can't see it being anything other. I said it'd be one of them where me and Marco will go like the clappers, we'll make it really entertaining, but we know what's enough and what's too much. Do you know what I mean? There are no liberties taken and that. It's like it's like when you spar. In training camp, you go for it with your sparring partners. But then if you clip one that was a little bit too heavy than normal, and that, then you ease off. And I think there's more chance of that happening because I know Marco rather than be with someone I'd have just met for the first time. If it's someone that it was a stranger that cracked me, and probably want to crack him back twice as hard, to be honest. But with Marco, there's going to be a respect there between us because we know each other.
Do you think there might be more exhibition fights for you after this one, or is this it?
Well, I mean, if the training's out to go by and what it's done for me, people turn around and say, "Oh, the exhibition, what's the point of him? What's this? What's the point of him? What's the point of him?" He's like, Ricky Hatton has now made a lifestyle change where Ricky Hatton won't be coming back again. You know what I mean? It got postponed the first time. I've kept the weight off, and I'm going to continue to do so from here on in because people with mental health and weight problems and stuff like that have come up to me and said how I've inspired them and that, and I'm enjoying it now. When people come up to me and go, "Ricky, you're looking so well, guy. You've even made me want to get in the gym and do this and do that." It's so. And I'm going to hear the roar of the crowd, the Manchester crowd again, one last time. I'm going to share the ring with a legend in Marco Antonio Barrera, where we all know how good he is, but I'm going to find out firsthand just how good he is. I've inspired people with mental health problems, weight problems, you know what I mean? What's negative? It's been a bad time for the country, what with, with the COVID. And so what's negative to come out of it? I don't see any negatives to come out of this. I think it's going to be a sensational night, and I can't wait.
What has your family's reaction been to you taking on this fight, saying that you're going back into boxing again?
Well, that's a good question to ask, actually, because it's a belting answer. They were not up for it. Like, I think most people will go, "Wow, what are you doing, Rick?" You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm going to get in there with Marco Antonio Barrera with bigger gloves on, less rounds, shorter rounds. There's an understanding and a respect between us, that not to take liberties because it's an exhibition bout, which will happen. So none of us are going to get hurt. So what would you rather see? Would you rather see Ricky Hatton, 15 stone, taking drugs, drinking and wanting to kill himself? Or would you want to see Ricky Hatton in the shape he's in now to do an exhibition that's going to not just be good for his well-being, but be good for other people's well-being, as well? You know what I mean? I think it's a real negative way to look, to look at it. If you think, well, what's the point in this? What's the point in this? For me, it's blaringly obvious. For me, and for others. Do you know what I mean? So it's yeah, and I think because my family have seen the change in me, I've given myself a goal to set, and they weren't for it at first, but when they've seen what I've done and what it's done to me and how it's changed me and how I'm looking and feeling and acting and everything like that and what it's doing to others, they think it's one of the best things I've done, and I agree with them. Yeah.
How's training for this fight gone? I know you've just come back from a run now. How's training been going?
Brilliant, better than ever, to be honest. I mean, when I went in for the July 2nd one, the first date, before it got postponed, I was in great shape, really, really fit. But that was my first training camp in 10 years. You know, I had to spar again, jump the bar again, do the body belt again, do my weights again, and like that. And I was 2 weeks before when it got postponed, it got cancelled. I was looking better than ever. I was sparring great and this and that. But that was my first camp in 10 years. This is my second camp in 10 years. And, and starting off from where I left off last time, even better. I mean, Friday, my last gym session there, I did, 10 2-minute rounds. This fight's 8 2-minute rounds. I did 10 2-minute rounds, and I went on the rowing machine, did 1,000 miles, dash on the rower. And even when the fight was postponed the first time, I wasn't doing 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's, I feel even better than I did the first time round. So yeah.
Cool. How have you managed your preparation for this exhibition alongside training your fighters?
None of my fighters have lost out, to be honest with you. What I do, I get there in the morning, I'll train my fighters, take them on the pads or whatever, or watch them spar, just like a normal training session on Mondays and Fridays. So they're still getting the pad work, and then Wednesdays I join in with them. So I'll be doing the pads with him, because I have an assistant coach in Blaine Eunice, who's a fantastic coach. He's, he'll be doing the pads, and then some will be jumping the bar, and then some will be doing the prowler, and some with that. And I just join in with the lads. But Monday, so they're not missing out on anything, me boxers, to be honest. They're still getting me training on Monday, right? In fact, I think they benefited from me joining in on a Wednesday, training alongside them. Yeah. And all my lads, pretty much all my lads that are pretty much the same way, I've sparred with them all. Yeah. And what a better way. I don't think there's not many coaches that can turn around and say, you're dropping your right hand, we'll get this right, get in there and what better thing than to get in there and spar with them. If they're making the odd mistake, you can get in there and make sure they put it right. It's been, and I think I speak for all of them, they've really enjoyed it. It's been mega, yeah.
Has there been anything that you found easier in this camp than your previous fight camps, or anything harder? I guess maybe easier it might...
Making the weight, yeah. I mean, I took 3.5 stone off for the first, when it should have been July 2nd. Took 3.5 stone off. But I put obviously when I went on holiday, I put a little bit on, but I mean, we're talking like 2.5 stone less to lose. Yeah. It's incredible, you know what I mean? Every fight I used to lose 3 stone. For this exhibition fight, stone. You know what I mean? By the time the fight comes, it'll be a stone. And that is, and to be honest, if I'd have done that through my career, I might have had a longer career.
Do you feel like mentally it's been easier because you've had the experience of going through these camps before? So like pushing yourself in training, has that been easier?
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I mean, I've ticked every box in boxing. I've had fights where I was going to say fights where I thought in the training camp I could have done a bit more. That wasn't the case, but I know there's been camps where I've overtrained, so I know when to put my foot on the gas, when to take my foot off the gas, when I need to have a little bit of a rest and a breather. I'm working alongside Blaine, who's a boxing coach who works with me. It's not just been good for my body and losing the weight and getting fit. It's been good for my mind. I think because I'm healthier, because I'm looking better and feeling better and weighing lighter and everything like that. I think the advice I'm giving to my fighters is better. Yeah. Rather than they say if you look good, you perform good. Yeah. Don't you? If you feel good, you perform good. And I think that's the typical case. I think the lads have got a far, because my mind's working quicker because I'm sharper. I'm working for my own exhibition. I think it's helped the boxers, and to be honest, my hands are a lot quicker on the pads now. If they don't get their hands up, I can clip them, and where when I was 15 stone, I need to say I was a little bit heavier, so I'd have been a little bit slower with them with my pads. So Everyone's a winner.
How has your mindset been? How is it different from the Senchenko fight?
Even better than I know the Senchenko fight was 10 years ago, and I was in a good place, and that's why I made the comeback fight, because I was in a good place. But I'm in an even better place now. There was one thing with the Senchenko fight which I think probably ultimately cost me the win, I think, because I was doing all right. I started off all right, good in the fight, and then Senchenko started coming into the fight a little bit, and I've always been under mile an hour, but I was a little bit I was a little bit giddy in that last fight, in the sense that when the fight started going against me, I hadn't made up with my mum and dad yet, and I hadn't made up with Billy Graham yet. And even though Billy Graham wasn't in the corner, whenever the fight was getting a little bit tough, I could always look down at ringside where my mum and dad were sat, and they'd always go, come on, son, and it'd help me. And when the fight started turning against me, and he started having a few good rounds, I was looking down to see where my mum and dad was, and they weren't there, and it was like, and Bob Shannon was in the corner. You're not looking at me. Look at me. Come on, look at me. Look at me. And I was like, my head had fell off a little bit, and then he caught me with a body shot and thought, I was winning. I know if I could have just saw the final bell out. But the point is I'm making. I'm in a lot better frame of mind for this fight, because I've made up with my mum and dad. You know what I mean? I've made up with Billy Graham now. My mum and dad and Billy Graham will be coming to the fight now, and that's. I think the Senchenko fight was a success, because I got rid of my demons. I made a comeback. I realised they haven't got it anymore and that. But I think if it had been in the same frame of mind as I am now, I'd have beat Senchenko. But c'est la vie.
Have you seen any clips of Barrera training recently, and what do you make of that?
Marco, yeah, he's obviously training very, very hard. He's been running up mountains in Mexico and stuff like that. You've got to do it. You know what I mean? There's one thing with Marco. He could fight at pace. When you saw them, Barrera fights, Morales fights. Oh my God, the pace that they were at and everything. And Marco's always boxed at pace. And it's that, even though we're getting a little bit older, the first few weeks are always hard in your training camp, but that body memory comes back to you very, very, very quick. And when you've trained at a tempo all your life, like I have and Marco has, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how old you get, you can't switch it off. It gets a little bit harder, but you still pelt it full blast. And I've no doubt Marco will be doing the same as me.
If he comes out fighting and swinging and going 100%, do you think you'll be able to hold back? Because it's an exhibition, or will you just give as good as you get?
No. If he goes 100%, I'll go 100%. But it won't be like that. Me and Marco know it's got to be competitive. I mean, there's no point in me going, I'll throw a jab now. You make up, because you can't kid the fans, and the fans, and you're always going to get critics. And there's going to be them critics out there that are just waiting for this fight, this exhibition to fall on its ass a little bit. That's to sort of like say, what I see, told you so. What that a waste of time. They didn't hit each other. They didn't, me and Marco can't and won't let that happen. But we'll know what's enough, what's not enough, and what is enough. If that's not enough and that's too much, we'll be there. Maybe creep there a little bit, but really be there, yeah.
Can you give us a hint of what to expect from your ring walk?
Oh, no. I can't give it away. No. I've got a good, nice little idea ready for me ring walk. I always, if it's going to be the last time, or certainly probably one of the last times that my fans see me again, we've got to go out with a bang and do something special. But yeah, as a little bit of a thank you for my fans. Yeah, we've got something lined up, but I can't tell you.